Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be continuing on with my series discussing the Titanic first class dining room area, which was quite the spectacle located on D deck. You can see from the image of the interior of the Titanic where that would be. You've got to walk through the reception room and you get to the massive dining area. Dinner was right around 6 o'clock. Sometimes it lasted past midnight. It was one of 5 locations for first-class passengers to eat at. Measuring at 114 feet long by 92 feet wide, the room could seat up to 550 passengers with around 115 tables for 2 to 12 people. If they wanted, the parents could allow their children to eat here with them, but not if the dining room was fully booked. The dining room was decorated with wooden paneling painted white, and the floors were covered with blue tiles featuring an elaborate red and yellow pattern. The room's portholes were elegantly concealed by inner leaded glass windows, giving passengers the impression that they were eating on shore instead of at the sea. For even more atmosphere, the windows were lit from behind during the evening meals. Now, that type of technology was originally thought to be used on the grand staircase dome, behind the grand staircase, that would light it up at night. That was false, but it was true that in the reception area and the first class dining room, they had artificial lights right behind the windows, to where if it was like 7 or 8 o'clock at night, you look at the windows, it looks bright, it gives off a natural light glow, and it adds to the overall ambiance of the room during the first class dinner portion, which was the main event when it comes to dining, especially back in the early 1900s. Breakfast was at 8 a.m., lunch was at 1, and dinner was at 6 on the Titanic in first class. And the photos that you're looking at, those are of the Olympics. So this is another situation. The Titanic Olympic, virtually identical when it comes to their first class dining. So they only took photos of the Olympic. And when it comes to what happened during the sinking, where is it right now? Well, I'm sure a lot of people remember the deleted scene on Titanic that was really long. The fight between Lovejoy and Jack. Very obvious that they should not have included that scene in the movie. I'm guessing the reason it was recorded how it was, where it was just 5 minutes of kind of a very slow developing fight. I'm guessing Cameron wanted to capture the sinking in real time, and as you see all the silverware rise to the top, all the water come in to the first class dining area from the reception area as the sinking is happening, it just was too slow. They did a good thing by removing it. Everyone talks about the deleted scenes. That one definitely should have been removed. But then you did have the issue with Lovejoy at the end of the movie having the cut on his face, and people didn't know what it was from. It was from a fight that it turns out did not happen because it was a deleted scene. I guess you could say he got that cut, it's a disaster. The ship is splitting in half. He could have gotten it a number of ways. But when it comes to the wreck, all but the forward quarter of the dining room has collapsed or torn. The outer sides of the aft part of the room are sprawled away from the decks. Now you can see kind of the wall in between the reception room and the dining room is still intact, and there's like windows up on each side. You can actually look through one of the portholes. I took some screenshots from a Titanic expedition that they went down in 2001. And like I was saying, with the grand staircase being blown wide open, you can really get those small drone type, cameras down into the different decks. So they went down to D deck, and it would be, it's right in front of you. When you go down to D deck with the grand staircase completely blown out, the reception room is going to be right there. And then if you go through the doors, that's where the main dining room is. About 3/4 of the main dining room is destroyed. There are a few areas and wood paneling that you can see, similar to the Turkish baths. I feel like people get some of the windows that were in the first class dining room or the reception room confused with the Turkish baths because they do kind of look similar. They have, you can see it's pretty distinct that the paneling, the design of them is still there. It is remarkable. So when it comes to the first class dining room, this is a really good image of all the different tables and where they're located. On the far right, that's the grand staircase. You can see the first class reception room. You've got some seating areas. And then you go through the doors. There's 2 doors on each side. And that's where you enter the main first class dining room that has over 100 total tables, all containing seats anywhere from 2 people per table to 12 people for the big parties, especially in the middle. You can see right there. And the meals, you're talking about 6 or 7 different course meals. They stayed from around 6 o'clock at night all the way till midnight because it was a huge event and they would keep eating. Back then, dinner was a big, big thing. And the strategy of it was small portions, but a lot of different types of food. So you get very small portions, a lot of different stuff, including at some points like 3 or 4 different appetizers alone, and then like 2 or 3 different desserts, along with a lot of different things in the main portion of the meal as well. The room was located smack dab in the middle of the ship, and I do like the design of it. I like the arches. I like the green seating, very distinct. And then the windows with the natural or the fake artificial natural light coming in. Also, it had a beautiful ceiling design as well. And there are a few different scenes from the 97 movie. You can see that's where the grand staircase comes down. That's a really good image showing the natural light. Because remember, the sinking is happening. So this is happening, whenever, like midnight, 12:30. And you can see it looks like it's daytime through those windows right there. And then they end up going into the dining room. When they go into the dining room, it's not flooded. And then it kind of floods as the deleted scene is going on. They end up removing the deleted scene, and then the dining room, the only thing they really showed when it comes to the movie is like all the silverware being lifted up during the sinking. It's a good shot, but that's pretty much all they got on it when it was sinking. And then just a few more things I wanted to mention. They've got those nice little lamps. You're at a fancy restaurant, you're in a fancy dining area, you've got a nice lamp at your table. That's a signal. You want to know another signal? They bring you water. You don't even have to ask for it. You go to a nice restaurant, you should already have the water. You shouldn't need to ask for the water. The water is a compliment. You have to understand, if I'm ordering a steak, it's not water or the regular drink. You need to give me water and then whatever my regular drink is, and then I have the steak, and then I can wash it down afterwards with water. That's how you know you're at a nice restaurant, but also the lamp as well, because they did have those little lamps at every table on the Titanic in the first class dining room. And then also you can see the door separating first class and the reception room. That's pretty crazy that that's still there. And there's just some other good photos of the comparison. So that's the reception room versus, what it looked like in 2001 versus 1912. It does have the natural light behind those windows as well. So guys, that is going to do it for this video, just talking about the first class dining room. What happened to it? About 3/4 of it was destroyed. Although there are some windows, especially the reception room area, where it is still, the pillars are still there, right where the grand staircase used to be, and you can kind of see where they were at. So that is pretty cool. But either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description.